I've been typing on a Keychron since anyone's ever paid me to. I didn't do it to be cool. I didn't do it to make a statement. I just liked it.
Welcome back to the channel, guys. This is Scott K. I hope you like that intro. It was an homage, but it's true. I have used countless Keychrons at the home and the office, and I did it because I liked it. And when Keychron announced they will be coming out with the new Q1, I was genuinely excited to see this thing, and I got one. Introducing the new entry into the custom mechanical keyboarding hobby, the Q1 by Keychron. Before we do anything, you have seen a few videos by now of the stock Q1 typing test. I have to be honest with you, it's bad. But I want to show you what happens to the Q1 in the hands of a highly skilled rocket scientist. I'm just kidding, I'm just a keyboard nerd. Let me show you what this thing is capable of in its ultimate form. Since this is an intro video, I won't go into the details of modding, that will be for the next time. And next thing you're probably wondering is if this thing flexes or not, and yes it does. Even during regular typing, it has a very soft and comfortable disposition, and yeah, take a look. Now that I have your attention and got those two questions out of the way, let's get started. The Q1 is Keychron's latest entry into the world of highly customizable mechanical keyboards. Since the introduction of the GMMK Pro, many mainstream keyboard manufacturers started to dabble in the idea of a well-featured, high-performance yet accessible custom mechanical keyboard for the masses. The Q1 is a 75% gasket-mounted aluminum keyboard, more compact than the TKL while still retaining the function keys above. In addition, those function keys offer full macOS features with a quick flip of a switch on the back. This is a feature that all Keychrons always had, the ability for it to support both a PC and a Mac. The version I received is a space gray, and the anodization on it was very good, nice and smooth with no visible imperfections. Like the GMMK Pro, there's a space on the top right corner to add a rotary encoder, or unlike it, add another switch. Or you can put a custom badge here as well like this. Speaking of the GMMK Pro, here's a quick size comparison. You can notice that the height of the Keychron Q1 is slightly taller, while the GMMK Pro is actually slightly wider. From the front, the Keychron Q1 of the GMMK Pro is pretty much identical in terms of the front case height. The Keychron Q1 has a 5-degree typing angle to it as well. The underside of the keyboard is fairly simple, with no visible logos and 4 small rubber feet with gold hardware. You can get the Q1 in 2 different ways. You can get it as a bare bones kit for $149, or you could get it as a fully built with Gateron switches and ABS double shot keycaps for $169. Those are unreal prices, and I'll get to that later. If you go for the fully built version, you get these ABS double shot keycaps. Once you hear double shot ABS, you think GMK, but yeah, if you're expecting GMK quality, you'll be disappointed. It's not bad though, it's kind of thick but it's not GMK. So what else do you get? Let's take a look at what's inside this Keychron Q1 box. You get some tools. Mine was an early review sample, so it was missing the screwdriver and the hex wrench, but it still had the keycap puller and the switch puller included. In addition, you get some extra keycaps so you can switch from Mac to PC, and also some extra gaskets. We'll get to these later. The biggest surprise though, you get a coiled USB cable with Aviator connectors. Wow, crazy deal right here. Now that we've seen enough of the Q1 on the outside, let's start looking inside. Once you have all the caps off, you can see that the Q1 came with Gateron Phantom Brown switches. They're based off the new Gateron Pro series, and they're actually pretty smooth. In addition, they came with Keychron's own screw-in PCB mount stabilizers, which aren't too bad when they're properly tuned. One nice thing about the board is that the reset button is actually located on top of the PCB and is accessible through a slot underneath the spacebar right here. Alright, before we tear down any further, let's do a quick check on the RGB. And yes, this thing has RGB and has so many different RGB modes that it'll keep you occupied for a while. I honestly think that this board has the most amount of RGB presets that I have seen on any board thus far. There is actually more than this, but for the sake of the time, I'm not going to go through all of it. To get the case opened, you start by unscrewing the 8 hex screws below the case. The top case just lifts up and out, and you can see the little daughter board and the ribbon cable connecting the two PCBs together. One cool detail is that even this little slider switch is actually made of anodized aluminum. Once you disconnect the ribbon cable and remove the daughter board, the main plate on the PCB assembly comes right out. Then you can see the details of the aluminum plate and how this is mounted. If you recall the gaskets from the GMMK Pro, they were puny. However, the Q1 is quite the opposite. The gaskets are massive. This is the secret to the 2.5mm of travel the Q1 is able to deliver. The other interesting thing is that, like my flexible mod on the GMMK Pro, Keychron decided to only put the gaskets in the 4 tabs as indicated. Now those extra gaskets in the back make sense. If you want to make the Q1 a bit stiffer, you can always add more gaskets to the tabs or otherwise just leave it with these 4. To continue the disassembly, you flip the plate over and locate the gold screws on the bottom. Silvers for stabs and gold for the plate, so nicely color coded. Once you undo the screws, you can lift up on the aluminum plate to expose that Keychron included a plate foam to dampen the noise further. It's a pretty nice and thick material, and you could actually just lift this up and out to show the PCB below. Here's a cool little detail. You can now see that the PCB on this board is already QMK and VIA ready. I had a chance to test this out, and indeed, both QMK and VIA work flawlessly out of the box. Great job here, Keychron. No silly proprietary software to rely on. Flip the PCB over and you can see a familiar sight with south-facing hot swap sockets and per key RGB. But wait, these are not Kale hot swap sockets, they're actually Gatoron. They will work the same, so no worries here. And finally, you get to the lower case, and lo and behold, there is some case dampening foam. But what is this? This is like a 1mm thin paper foam. Now I understand why everyone keeps saying that the keyboard sounds so hollow and pingy, but Keychron actually listened and they will be beefing this up before the official launch. Can you believe that this is actually the same board you heard in the beginning? Let me show you what's causing that noise. This is with that paper thin foam. It actually does nothing. What about with some nicer, thicker foam? So Keychron recognized this and they will be adding in thicker, nicer foam before production. In addition to the board, Keychron sent me some other goodies to take a look at. The first one is the wooden wrist rest, which is actually the perfect size for the Q1. Then they sent me these new phantom switches by Gatoron, and we already took a look at how the browns sound. They all come pre-lubed from the factory. Overall, since they're based off the new Pro series by Gatoron, they have great tolerances and are very smooth in operation. The browns are tactile, the blues are clicky, and the reds are linear. Overall, I would put them a notch above the standard Gatoron switches. However, the one that stood out the most was the red. From what I gather, these should be similar modes to the new Pro yellows, and when I lubed, filmed, spring swapped them with slow 62-gram springs, they were absolutely phenomenal. Finally, they sent me a set of PBT die-sub caps as well. Between the ABS double shot and the die-sub PBT, I would strongly recommend going with the PBT ones. They are super thick, they sound and feel great, and just overall brings a better typing experience. Both the cap sets they provided are in OEM profile, since Keychron also makes other keyboards that do feature north-facing configurations. One thing to note is that their legends are not the very best, so please keep that in mind. So now that everything is covered, how does a Keychron Q1 with thicker case foam, lubed and filmed switches, tuned stock stabilizers, and PBT caps sound like? This is essentially nothing more than a tuned Keychron Q1 out of the box, no additional mods. So what are my final thoughts? I think the Keychron Q1 is a crazy deal for a keyboard that offers so much and has so much potential. I know this is a first look video, so I'm not really showing off what I did to mod it, but that video will come soon. At the time of the pre-order, the Keychron Q1 will be offered only with an aluminum plate option, but PC and FR4 is just around the corner. You can choose to opt for the fully assembled for a great $169 in 3 different color options. There will be carbon black, the navy blue, and space gray like the one that you saw here. The Q1 I received had a custom badge in the corner with my name on it, but as you can see here, you can easily pop that off and just add another switch into the hot swap socket that is already there. You can also outfit the keyboard with one of the 3 phantom switches. As you have seen, I strongly recommend the red one. It's really good. Yep, the entire fully assembled keyboard with switches and keycaps for $169. If you'd rather do your own switches and keycaps, you can always go with the bare bones option. There is even a bare bones ISO version for those that are outside of the US as well. The kit will come in the same color combinations, all for an amazing $149. So for the price, what do you get? So if you take a look and scroll down to what's actually in the boxes when you get either the fully assembled or the bare bones version. Fully assembled version, you could take a look. Obviously you get the keyboard and some of the other things that come with it, like the plate and the foam and whatnot. But take a look at this. You actually get a coiled cable with an Aviator connector, part of the $169. The bare bones version, same. You get all the necessary components to make the keyboard, but if you take a look, once again, for $149, you get the same coil cable with the Aviator connection as well. A lot of these Aviator cables go for $30, $50, up to $100, so this thing is a steal. I feel the GMMK Pro in concept was a game changer. However, in execution, it fell short of the lofty expectations that a lot of people had. I feel that Keychron has learned from some of the Glorious's mistakes and created an accessible, great performing custom mechanical keyboard for everyone out there. This thing has massive flex and a comfortable typing experience. It has great acoustics once you mod it a bit, and I still can't believe its pricing. I know this question is inevitable. Given all this, would I recommend the Q1 over the GMMK Pro? Absolutely. This is the keyboard you want to get if you want to start on the mechanical keyboarding journey. As usual, if you liked the video, please like and subscribe, and I will have more content for you in the future. Thanks.